Hi everybody, this is Mr. Roach. We're here with Java, and we are trying to um, do a cost of car mileage comparisons or cost of ownership comparisons using a file. So we have a file called test data, and we are learning how to use scanners to read the data. And what we did on Friday is we set up a program where we had two scanners. And what's interesting about the second scanner is that it's supposed to open up a file. The first one is tied to system input, which handles the console window. And the second one is supposed to open up a file. And what happens when you have a situation like this, there's a possibility the file isn't going to work, like here, because the file is called test lala data right there. And the actual file is called test data. So when you run something like this, you run into trouble. So what happens is you put a little bit of information the way we wrote this, but you run into a problem here, and it can't open up the file and things like that, and that's sort of a problem. Let me make sure I'm running the right program here. Yeah, see right there it says you still have a problem, and that means it didn't open up the file correctly. And so what I do is I have to make that match the name of the file matching the under file name. And then we can input stuff. So it says your file is open, we're all set. Okay. And then what we need to do is we need to open the file and then read on each line all of the particular data items, okay? And actually, the way we had this before is that we did this. I made a change, and I'll explain the change later on in the video. But what we did is we originally had something like this, where we had a 1 or a 0 for true or false. And I'm not sure we can read the 1 or 0 and get it to be the Boolean thing that we want. Okay, so I'll show you how we handle that and deal with those situations. But right now what's going on is that we set up a bunch of variables that correspond to each of the data items. So like car make would correspond to Ford, car model would be Fusion, is hybrid we set up to be 0, 1, car price is this car price, and we have two variables for highway and city, and for fuel efficiency, so that'd be like 43 highway, 41 city, and then we have a value, the value of the car after 5 years, like what its like sort of basic resale value would be. And what we set up to do in class on Saturday or on Friday was to start reading these. Okay, so we've been able to read car make, car model. We had this idea to read his Boolean with the 1 and the 0, and then basically we need to read all these 3 other variables. There's 4 other variables here, which are all doubles. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that in here and read them all in. Okay, so to do that, I have already declared the variable, so okay. So I don't need to do that again. So I'm going to get rid of the data type declaration for each of them. And I'm going to read them all in using the F input scanner. So I'm just going to clean things up right now. That looks like that. These guys are going to equal something. I'm getting ready for the statement I need to use, and that is basically, and you know what it is too, it's F input dot next double. I feel like even the computer knows that. So right there, next double. So I'm just reading these double numbers. And as long as I keep like my file structure straight to the reads, everything will be fine. So and that's good. That reads everybody, right? Okay, so I ended up with this, okay? And what I also want to do is sort of print it. So we know how to do that right now. And we're going to use a system.out print printf call, right? And that's pretty good. Let me see. System.out. Let me see if I can find it here. And what I want is this. Okay. So I need to know the arguments, and we need to know the format. And the format is just going to be some string. Okay. And the args are going to be all the stuff that we have been collecting. So it's going to be car make, car model. It's going to be all these variables over here. Okay. And I'm just going to put them in here. And we're going to talk about some of them because I think some of them might be a problem to us, but we'll deal with them. So I just want them all to be in here. Like that. And it would look something like this. Okay. Oh, I need the last thing here because that's the last one. Okay. So one of the things is that these could be combined, like the highway value. So before I print them, I might make an average fuel efficiency variable, and that might be M highway plus M city, okay, M city divided by 2. Okay, and this is okay, but you have to watch out because the way Java does math operations, it moves basically from left to right, but it will do multiplication and division actually before addition. So that's kind of a bad news math-wise here. So I want to go like this and put parentheses so I make sure that the add gets done first before doing the division, and that's good. And then I can cut from my list and put average fuel efficiency here. Okay, so that's great. And then what I really want to do is then I want to start putting in the codes and stuff that I need to get these variables to show. So make is going to be here, and I can use a that's a string, and I might use like 10 for like the length of it. Okay. And then I can put in the next thing, which is going to be model, like that. And this is also another string, which I might go like that. And then put 2 things after it. And I might go, okay, using the plus sign. Karmic model, I'm going to go hybrid. Okay, like that. And then I don't have a thing for Boolean. So I'm going to like just kind of punt right here. Okay, that's a mess. Not sure what to do with that. But okay, hang on. And we'll say hybrid. And then I have to get basically the car price, average fuel efficiency, and value after 5 years. So these are things we know how to do. So I'm going to go like this and say purchase price, something like that. I'll put a dollar sign, so I want to show that, and then and then you know how to make a decimal. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say maybe let's say 10.2f, and that's going to make a decimal for me. That's good. And then if I return, I can put plus, and then I'm going to need fuel efficiency. Okay, so I'm going to say fuel efficiency, and then that doesn't have to be so big, so it probably is going to get like 4, and maybe I'll wish a 1 decimal point. What happens if I do that? That's good. And then I need resale price, or value sneeze after 5 years. Okay, and then I'm gonna put that's another decimal, so it's gonna be just like this, and put them in there. Okay, so it's easy to use the percent sign to sort of format stuff. And I got a problem here with Boolean. Let me just show you what the problem is, and we'll kind of try to fix it. Oh, it's just that there is no Boolean, right? So what I'm going to do here is actually, let me see. I'm going to make a change to the file. So what we have here is we have a 1, which means true, and I'm just going to write true. Here. I'm going to write false. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm deleting the number, and I'm just changing that. I'm going to say true, say false. I'm going to be very careful. But I'm getting all this information fixed, and that's great. Okay, and then I'm going to do a save to get that saved up. And then, since they're words, like true or false, I can use, let me see, is hybrid. I can go like this and go next to get, just like we did up here with make and model. Okay, and but is hybrid's a Boolean. So if I go like this and get this string, there's actually a Boolean function that's called getBoolean, and it'll make a string out of the name. So if I go like this and put the string in there, it'll form a Boolean. Oh, look at that. Okay, so what will happen is then that it'll get the Boolean name, and it'll put it there as a string. Okay, so we can go like this and say that's like true or false. So we'll say percent. And we could go like this too. Actually, let's do this. So we get the is hybrid is in here, right? And that's actually a Boolean, right? So we can actually do this and then make it kind of like a string for it. So we'll say string hybrid. I'm gonna run out of space. Okay, and we'll finish this in 1 second. Okay.